Tomorrow night at Pittodrie, Aberdeen welcome League A side Strasbourg. The atmosphere ahead of the game against FC Noah was memorable. Shame some of the football on display wasn't. But we know what we need to do. It's very simple. If we have any ambitions of progressing through the Conference League, we need to beat Strasbourg tomorrow. And then we face a very difficult trip to Prague, where we also need maximum points. Kick-off tomorrow at Pittodrie is at 8 o'clock UK time. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg AB TV this Wednesday night ahead of our big game against Strasbourg in the Conference League tomorrow. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is chatting to a former colleague of mine who is a French football expert. He's got a brilliant French football podcast called Across the Channel. Matt Spiro will be joining us for the first time a little bit later on. He gives us a really, to be honest with you, quite an in-depth insight into what we should expect from Strasbourg tomorrow night. So I'll get Matt on a little bit later. I've got a soundbite from the manager as well, talking about the importance of European games at Pittodrie. But tonight, as always, is always about you. So come on, have your say, tell me how you're feeling, tell me what you're thinking ahead of the game. Just did a little bit of research before we came on. This is actually, tomorrow's game is going to be our 81st game at Pittodrie in European competition. We've won 43, we've drawn 21, and we've lost only 16 at Pittodrie. Strasbourg actually will be the 81st club that we've faced in European competition. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night's game because take away the Conference League where they currently sit second, they come into this game in a bad run of form. Got the match stats for you later. I'll show that to you. But first, shall we try and have a look at what we think the team will be tomorrow? I'm going to take a punt at this. Tell me what you think. So, it's very simple for me. Adil has to start after his exploits at the weekend, and he must start, for me, alongside Dante, who I think is really coming into his own now in midfield. I quite liked Stuart Armstrong playing on the left against Dundee and Jesper Karlsson playing on the right, and then swapping over now and then. I think he's going to start with Marco up front, and then potentially to bring Kevin on, and you never know, to play them together or a straight swap. So let's see. The back 3, 4, 5, however he's going to play it, I think will remain the same as the Dundee game as well. So as promised, here are your match stats. So Strasbourg have already qualified for the knockout stages, having won 3 from their 4 games played. So potentially, could they come into this game thinking job's already done? Strasbourg head into the game having lost 3 from their previous 5 games. The League side currently sit 8th in their domestic table, but as I said, 2nd in the Conference League standings. For us, we come into the game having only lost 1 game from the previous 9. We have German officials tomorrow. Robert Schroeder is the man in the middle, and on VAR is Bastian Dankart. Let me just quickly, gently remind you that Ali Beg AB TV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. Not just that, they offer a number of services, rentals, torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding as well. So if any of those float your boat, get in touch with me and I will put you in direct touch with the guys at Saltire Energy. Right, so what we'll do is let's open it up first, see how you are all doing. And then we'll hear from Yimmy. And we will also get Matt Spiro on. But first, let's see how we're doing tonight. Oh, right, come on. Sorry, bear with me. Oh, you see, ayo. Right, hang on, got a slight technical issue here. Right, there we go. Let's bring that back up. There we are. Okay, so Cameron Young came on first of all. He said, "Hi Ali, absolutely massive game tomorrow night against Strasbourg. Hopefully we can get the result, but it's going to be a tough ask to get the result against a very good side." Gordon Keith Ritchie says, "Good evening. All we need is a positive result tomorrow. Just go for it and see where it takes us. Come on, you Reds," he says. Graham Gibbs says, "So glad you're on, Ali. Spent the last few days trying to find an affordable option for Boston in June next year. Every time you blink, the price goes up. Yeah, I've seen that. Honestly, the ticket prices for the World Cup are quite simply obscene. It's a game for the people. And as we continue to say, it's the old football cliche. Football is nothing without fans, and FIFA would do well to remember that. Get a grip. Greedy buggers. Kirstine is on. How are we doing, Kirstine? She says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Let's hope we can get a win tomorrow night, but it's going to be a tough game. Kaiser's on. How are we doing, Kaiser? He says, tomorrow is basically a... No, it's not. He said it's a glorified friendly. It is not. Any chance of getting a playoff evaporated with failing to beat Noah. Nonsense, Kaiser. That's utter garbage, mate. It is not a glorified friendly tonight. We still have every opportunity to qualify. If we get 6 points, that could take us above the threshold to qualify, depending on other results. It's still a big game. Sue says, good evening, dandies. Full pelt tomorrow, nothing to lose. Craig Moyer says, European nights under the Pittodrie lights, nothing beats it. Huge match, I expect. Similar lineup as last weekend, but hopefully Gyamfi is fit to play left wing back instead of Alexander Jensen. Kaiser came back to say, I take a draw tomorrow, to be honest. It could end up another AEK Athens. Mad Mark is on, wishing you well. Kaiser came back to say, hopefully Strasbourg will put out their reserves. Bob Duff is here. How are we doing, Bob? He said, I'd be mixing up the team tomorrow night ahead of Sunday's huge clash with Killie. 5 or 6 changes he would like to see. Ian Barron says, hi Ali and fellow dandies. Tomorrow would be a good time to play Kevin and Marco up front. See where it goes, and we need to get goals. Let's do it. Come on, you Reds. Neil Strachan says, good evening, Ali. I think we'll win 2-1 tomorrow. See you tomorrow night. I'll be in the RDS, so see you tomorrow. I'm not over the tomorrow, mate. I'm back home, so unfortunately, Neil, I'm not going to make the game tomorrow, fella. Dave Sharp says, quite simply, #heed first. Bruce Struthers says, looking forward to the game tomorrow. Must win. Keep the decent run going. Dave Sharp came back to say, good evening, everybody. I've got a feeling we'll do something tomorrow. We're looking better and we have a little bit of wind in our sails. Sheep on Fire says, good evening, dandies. I fancy us to win this one. Play our game. That's all we have to do. Right, we'll get back to you guys in just a moment. First of all, let's hear from the manager what he had to say ahead of the game.
I think it's going to be an exciting game. I agree with Jack. They are a good team and they have the qualities and they have done well so far in the season in Europe and in the league. They are a dynamic team with a lot of technical qualities, but I also feel that we're growing and we play at home, and the next step for us is to grow with this challenge, and I think we have learned some parts during this year in Europe, and I hope we can show that tomorrow.
The thoughts of the manager. He also said, in terms of team news, that everyone is available apart from Christer Tobers and Gavin Malloy, who are sort of long-term injuries, absentees now. He was also very much singing the praises of Jack Milne and Adil Ashish in his press conference. So if you want to watch it, if you are a subscriber to Red TV, it's on there. If not, the text from the press conference is currently sitting on the club website at the moment. Right, let's get Matt Spiro on. So Matt and I go back years. We both worked together at beIN Sports. Matt was our French football correspondent, and he now hosts a very successful French football podcast called Across the Channel. So earlier today, Matt and I sat down over Zoom and we had a little bit of a chat about what to expect from Strasbourg. So welcome to the show for the first time, an old pal of mine, Matt Spiro. Hi, Matt. It's really good to see you, mate. It's been a really long time. Are you keeping well?
Very well, thank you, Ali. Good to see you again.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Right, so first question I need to pose to you is, obviously Strasbourg have already qualified, doing very well in the Conference League, but I noticed in Ligue 1, it's not gone so smoothly. So what do you think has been the difference?
Yeah, they've dropped away. Having started the season very, very well, They had a big summer in the transfer market, 110 million euros spent, which by Ligue 1 standards at the moment is enormous.
Yeah.
Basically, only PSG, Marseille, and Strasbourg have been able to spend any money. So there was a lot of talk that they will be competing for a position in the top three. They may well go on to do that, but they've absolutely dropped away now, down to seventh, eighth in the table. They've lost three on the bounce. I think it's four defeats from five. And I think this is probably the biggest test right now that Liam Rosenior's had since he took over. The English coach, formerly of Hull City. I've been so impressed with him. He's done a really, really good job with Strasbourg, both tactically, the way he carries himself, his communication. And obviously they've done really well in the Conference League. I think there's been a real buzz about the club. This is a big traditional football club, in terms of the French landscape, and they're returning to Europe for the first time in 20 years. So their fans are super excited about that. And I think the motivation levels to play in this competition, from the players and from the supporters have, contributed to the really good results they've had. Why has it fallen away in the league? I mean, it's a good question. I think things are not quite right behind the scenes. Liam Rosenior, who's kind of always been this like big brother figure, because they're a very young side. They've got an average age of 21. I think if you take Ben Chilwell out of the equation, the average age is like 20. And they're always dancing after their victories. There just seems to be an amazing atmosphere, and Liam Rosenior is always there putting his arm around them, and it just seems like a really happy house. And then things have just started to go wrong really for the first time. And Rosenior's started getting tough, and we haven't seen this side of him. There are a couple of players who have been dropped from the squad. Le Maréchal, a midfielder, Godot, an English attacker. They weren't involved at the weekend. There's been controversy around the captain as well, Emmanuel Emega, who has spoken out of turn, and he was also suspended internally for that game at the weekend. So they're taking this tough stance all of a sudden, and it certainly didn't work at the weekend. They lost 1-0 at Toulouse. They had an XG of 0.07 against Toulouse. So I mean, it was a dire performance from them, and certainly their fans will be expecting a big improvement against Aberdeen.
Sorry, Matt, just very quickly, just to ask you the next question. So will the captain return for the Aberdeen game? What's the script there?
So I wasn't sure sort of how long he was going to be suspended for, but the news has now broken that he's got injured anyway. So he's injured and he's out until the end of the year. Okay. So Emmanuel Emega, who got the captain's armband this season after a very strong season last year, scoring goals. He's a big, strong, powerful attacker, a little bit erratic in front of goal, but very promising. And Chelsea have signed him for next season. But good news for Aberdeen, he's not going to be there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wish the lad well, but excellent news. So what should we expect on Thursday night, Matt, from Strasbourg?
So very young team, but very physical, very fast. They are an attack-minded team. Liam Rosenior sets them up to go one-to-one all over the pitch, so they will look to press Aberdeen. They'll look to win the ball high up the pitch. Excellent in the transitions. That's been their strength. Their weakness, though, is that it's their youth, and they do have mistakes in them. They'll make one or two big mistakes at the back in a game, and I think that's where Aberdeen will have to try to sort of make the most of any chances they get. But that said, they've got some really talented players. I think the recruitment team there has done a super job. They've got another Chelsea lad at the back, Mamadou Sarr, who's been signed and loaned back to Strasbourg. Really talented young player. So I do think it'll be a tough game. Probably a good time to be playing them, given that their form has dropped off. But
yeah,
like I say, their fans will be expecting a reaction, because it really wasn't good enough at the weekend.
And just to finish off, mate, just give us an idea of a player that we should look out for.
So the guy I would say is the striker, Joaquin Panicelli. an Argentine striker, a young attacker. I talked about the recruitment being good. Sorry, he was playing Spanish second division last year. They've picked him up. I think he got 9 goals in his first 9 games. He took to Ligue 1 absolutely instantly. He's even made his debut for Argentina since then. So, I mean, his rise has been amazing. I just checked, though, before the call. He's gone 6 games without a goal now.
Okay.
So it's dried up a little bit for him. But he is obviously, like, he's got huge potential. And he is a proper, like, old-fashioned number 9, like, sniffs out the goals, like, very hard runner. And, you know, a player that I think a lot of bigger European clubs have noticed in the first few months of this season. So he was getting a run because Emega was injured earlier in the season. And actually when the skipper Emega came back, they've had difficulty playing the two of them together. So in some respects, it's obviously not good for them to have their captain out injured, but at least there's no difficult decision for Rosinha. It'll be Panicelli up top. And he's a guy that you're going to have to keep a very close eye on.
Okay. Mate, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on. It's lovely to see you. And hopefully, mate, we can catch up again soon.
Hope so, Ali. Thanks
Brilliant.
a lot, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Matt, thank you so much. So, as he just mentioned there, Joaquin Panicelli. So, there are some details of him. Now, he hasn't scored, as Matt said, for quite a wee while, but I still think we need to keep an eye on him. An old-fashioned centre-forward who has scored 9 goals from 15 starts in total this season. He's got a very good aerial duels won percentage. So he could cause us some headaches tomorrow. So whoever is up against him, we're going to have to watch him very carefully. He is our man to watch tomorrow night. Let me just quickly remind you that Alibeg AB TV is also brought to you by Craig International, a global procurement company who have offices all over the world. They are a world leader when it comes to procurement. They are based in America, in the beautiful city of Houston. They're up in Calgary as well. Home offices at home in Aberdeen. They also serve the European continent in Germany, up in Hamburg, as well as the Middle East, in Qatar, in Oman, and they're also based in Dubai. Not just there, they're also down in the Far East, in Singapore, and they also serve the Southern Hemisphere with a booming office in Australia. So if procurement is your thing, get in touch with them. Nobody does it better. If you are going to the game tomorrow night, don't forget to pick up your copy of Red Match Day, superbly edited and put together as always by the brilliant Malcolm Panton, full of features for you to enjoy ahead of kickoff. Just before I get back to you guys, let me just remind you again that Alibeg AB TV is brought to you by Quipco, who service the oil and gas industry based in Abu Dhabi. They offer a number of services and products. They do manufacturing as well. So if you're looking for any of those type of services, feel free to drop them a line. There's their telephone number on screen. You can also email them. And if you want to find out more about them, there is their website. Right, let's get back to your comments before we finish off. Oh, can you see? My eyes are so bad. Right, see how we're doing. Kaiser's asking if there's any idea if Strasbourg is taking a crowd over. Don't know, fella. Absolutely no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if they take a few. Brian Watson says, play like we can. We're going to give them a game. Kaiser says, remember the Paraguayan goalkeeper Jose Luis Chelevet? Is that how you pronounce it? Played for Strasbourg in the 90s. He took all the penalties and the free kicks. Yeah, I have a vague memory of that fella. David Gold, Rally Vids is here. Tall order tomorrow. But we managed to upset Frankfurt last time we were in Europe. Not impossible. Sheep on Fire came back to say, going for a 2-1 win for the Dons. Plenty of tickets still unsold. Yeah, I must admit, considering that we still have an opportunity to progress, I thought there might be maybe a few hundred more sold. But I'll be honest with you, Christmas is just around the corner. I completely get it. Merciful Fate says, hello Ali and fellow Dons. I'll be surprised if we get a win tomorrow. Can't see it. However, I'm glad we're scoring more and the team looking more settled. Milne and Loben looking good, as well as Dante and Adil. Mad Mark says, Sparta Prague took a bit of a kicking yesterday, which might bode well for us in the final game, especially after we win tomorrow. Bob Duff, about my rant with Kaiser, said, that's Kaiser Telt. Kaiser came back to say that he disagrees with me. We've got no chance now. We need a lot of things to go our way, but I'll happily stand corrected. Kaiser says, if we had beaten Noah, the place would have been nearer a sellout. Mate, I completely agree with that. Stephen Cowie says it's going to be an excellent test for us against the Chelsea reserves. Graham Gibbs says, this link with Chelsea just feel like another way big clubs can have huge squads, avoid fair play and cherry pick the best players, not a level playing field. Ben Chilwell plays for them as well, doesn't he? Interesting that their coach, Liam Rosinha, he actually coached Graham Shinney for a while when they were both at Derby County in 2002. He was singing our praises today in his press conference. Right, one last thing to do, guys. So, next February, in the Douglas Hotel in Aberdeen, I will be on stage hosting an event with 3 absolute diamonds. Johnny Hayes, Adam Rooney, and Niall McGinn. This is all in support Beatson Cancer charity, produced by The Longest 40. If you've been to one of their gigs before, you know what it's all about. It's a question and answer session. You guys get an opportunity to ask questions in the second half of the show. Lots of raffle prizes up for grabs as well. They're fantastic evenings. If you've been to the Willie Miller, Alex McLeish one, the Ian Jess one, you know what good fun these gigs really are. So I'd be absolutely thrilled if you would take it into consideration and maybe coming along to the Douglas Hotel in February next year. Right, guys, we're coming up to 25 minutes. I'm going to call it a night because I'm going out for dinner. So enjoy the rest of your evening. All that's left to say now is the very best of luck to the lads tomorrow night. Just go for it. Absolutely go for it. Dundee was a big win. Played really well in parts. Started to score goals. If Adil can keep doing what he's been doing, you just never know. It's still there. There's still a glimmer of hope. And I hope they take that into their mentality tomorrow night. So, stand free, and I'll see you on Friday for the review show. Take care. Bye for now.